Hey, welcome to another Weird News Report. It's so exciting. Let's get started with our first story before everybody leaves. Our first story is about an incident that happened at a recent soccer match. England versus Germany Euros game, right? Germany lost. And at the end of the game, on the big screen that they have at the stadium, they showed a little German girl, a German fan, little girl, right? Okay. But she was crying. She was so sad that Germany lost that she was crying. And some English fans booed this little girl. And after the match, like some English fans harassed this little girl on social media, or or trolled her, on social media. Most people, I think, would say, "Oh, that's so terrible. Why would you harass and troll and boo a crying little girl who's just sad that her country's soccer team lost?" But I would say that you just don't understand soccer. But there was a English fan that felt bad for the little girl and started a crowdfunding campaign because he wanted to make England seem not so terrible. So he started a crowdfunding campaign. Initially, it was the goal of £500. Now the crowdfunding campaign has £36,170 raised. Initially, it was just for a nice, like the person who orchestrated this, he wanted the parent to just raise a little bit of money so the parents could take the little girl out for a nice day or something, to make her feel better. But that's gotta, how do you spend £36,000, which I assume is a lot, on a trip? That's gotta be a really, really cool trip for a little girl. Very, very weird, but I guess it worked out for this little girl. Okay, given the option, right? Would you like have your face like crying on a big stadium screen and have people filled with that stadium? Reverse that. People. Ugh. Given the choice, would you have a video of you crying on the big screen at a stadium filled with people that are booing you and then harassing you on social media, but in exchange you get £36,000? I think I would. So I think it worked out for this little girl. Good. It has a happy ending, because at least she has money now. And as we know, money solves all problems. Let's move on to our next story. So this next story is about a Florida man. Oh no. A few days before 4th of July, he was making a lot of noise at night, right? There was a noise complaint that was put in because of this guy that was imitating a firework. He was yelling out, "Boom! Firecracker and bottle rocket." Terrible imitation of a firework. I would say a imitation of a firework is more, or something like that, right? Not just saying the word firecracker. So someone from the police department said, and I quote, "Pretending to be a firework is also going to run afoul of our noise ordinance," unquote. That is wise advice. Don't pretend to be a firework. And by the way, how do you yell so loud that you have a noise complaint? Cape Coral, Florida. I can't imagine Cape Coral, Florida is a very populated place, right? Several people heard this man yell. How loud does this man have to be yelling? Was he outside? I have so many questions about this, but I'm not really surprised. Let's move on to our next story. So our next story is about a Tennessee woman who owns a vanity license plate, right? She got it nearly a decade ago, but recently the Tennessee Department of Revenue have determined that this license plate offensive and have taken it away from her. What does this license plate say that is so offensive? I bet you're all wondering. It says 69 pwned you. That's 69 PWNDU. This woman is like she says she's both a astronomer, like astronomy hobbyist, right? And a gamer. Wow, that's interesting. And 69 refers to the year of the moon landing. And pwned you is like a gamer thing, I guess. So this woman that owns this vanity license plate is suing the Department of Revenue of Tennessee because she is arguing that her freedom of speech was violated. But it does say in the Tennessee law that the Department of Revenue can revoke vanity license plates that, quote, may carry connotations offensive to good taste and decency or that are misleading. The license plate isn't really that offensive. 69 pwned you? Like, okay. Let's move on to our next story, because this is just weird. Our next story is about a 65-year-old man from Australia who was sitting on the toilet when he felt a pinch in his... Okay, this is not a gross story. I just need to say that before I say this. This is not a gross story, so just bear with me. It is kind of gross, but not for the reason you think. So a 65-year-old man from Australia was sitting on the toilet when he felt a pinch in the area of his genitals. That's a quote. A quote, pinch in the area of his genitals. Quote, when he looked inside his toilet, he noticed a 5-foot snake beneath him in the toilet bowl. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's very serious. A snake came through the drain of this man's toilet and bit his genitals. That is horrifying. And he needed to go to the hospital for minor injuries. Wow, that's going to be a fear of mine from now on. Getting bit in the genitals by a snake when I'm sitting on the toilet. But I guess it's an Australia thing, right? Where this happens in Australia. Hopefully. Let's go on to our next. I know the type of snake. It was a reticulated python, which lives in Australia. I'm not sure if they live where I live. Probably not. Let's move on to our next story. So this next story is less of a story and more of an observation. So apparently, in Texas movie theaters, you can buy, like, pickles. Like, big pickles. Like, pickles in a bag. A big pickle in a bag. Ah, yes, the classic movie experience of a nice tub of popcorn and a nice drink and a pickle. That's not what I think of. But I guess that's what they think of in Texas. I've never heard of movie theater pickles, is what I'm saying. Apparently, sometimes they put the pickle in the popcorn, and they refer to it as a popcorn pickle. And it makes, I suppose it makes the popcorn taste like pickle juice, which is interesting. But like, how could you just eat a big pickle is what I'm saying. Like, I can't imagine eating a big pickle. Like, normally when I eat pickles, it's like on a hamburger or like... Actually, that's the only time I can think of that I eat pickles, is on a hamburger. I wouldn't want to just chow down on a big pickle. Let's move on to our next story, which will leave this episode on a lighthearted note. The Chinese Police Academy, a Chinese Police Academy, is auctioning off dogs that are too friendly for law enforcement. Oh, so sweet. Apparently there are 54 dogs that flunked out of the police academy by being too gentle for a career in law enforcement. Primarily German Shepherds, Dutch Shepherd hybrids, and Belgian Malin. That's a hard word. Belgian Malinois. This dog. Here, I'll show a picture. Yeah, they'll be auctioned off tomorrow, July 7th. That's so sweet. A dog that's too friendly for law enforcement. Just doesn't want to bite people. Like, that's what they said one of the reasons is they just don't, want to bite people when they're given the command to. Or there were, what else? It says, or they're too timid, right? So sweet, just good dogs, Okay, that brings us to the end of Weird News Report, episode 12. Wow, how time flies. And that's the weird news of the week, or at least some of it. Yeah.